So I would say go for it, absolutely, and I would love to help you. So I take meetings all the time and share all of our data, and everything is free about Mass Challenge. Our mission is, and we are genuine about this, is to catalyze a renaissance. We want to empower the creative class, the entrepreneur, the startup. That is the source of growth for the economy and the world. And so I would love to see hundreds of mass challenges pop up around the world. And I would love to even go and visit your community and teach you how to do it one-on-one. But obviously, we get a lot of demand on that front, and we have to run our own program. So that's my limiting reagent. I will try to, we are hoping to document what we do and distribute it as a book or a series of white papers or a wiki. We haven't gotten there because we're running too fast to run Mass Challenge. So, but if you email me or contact me, you can send emails to contact@masschallenge.org, and it will get through to me, and I'll get back to you. Then I will do my darndest to help you and provide advice. I'll give you the quick overview for right now for all of you. So I think probably the core strategic insight of Mass Challenge, or one of our strengths at least, is that we think in terms of system dynamics. This is I don't know if it's what you call it, an industry or a field or a way of thinking pioneered at MIT, in which you realize that any large complex system like a community, a state, a university even, the clouds and the weather, any large system is best understood at the system level. It's made up of multiple smaller components. But you typically can't achieve significant output at the system level by modifying only one of the variables at a time. It's a matter of optimizing across all of them. If you think of it like a mass production line, like a factory, and you could go in and you could massively boost the production output of one of the machines in that production line, and it won't necessarily produce any significant increase in output at the end of the line because they're all dependent upon each other. And so to really create significant change in a community, you have to zoom out and think of it at the system level. So for context and to be more specific, in the startup community, there's a lot of different stakeholders that influence the number of startups created in a community. So they're all a little bit different, but this will hold true for most communities in the country and around the world. In Massachusetts, I'll talk about what it's true in Massachusetts. So in Massachusetts, we have a very strong university foundation. That is the source of ideas, of research development, of talent. We attract incredibly smart people from all over the world to come in and teach at our universities and to attend our universities as undergraduates and graduates. So we have this very powerful base of talent and ideas that are being generated. That's the starting point in many ways for our ecosystem. But they will need, for a startup to succeed, that founder will need money. So they're going to need a pool of investors, angel investors and early stage investors, as well as somewhere to go after over time, later stage investors, VCs, corporate investors, et cetera. So there's money as another component, investors. Then you have corporations that play a role in the sense that they can be customers, they could be investors, they can be technology advisors and mentors. They're a source of all sorts of, they can be a source of talent. They attract and train people in technology that may become disillusioned with a large corporate environment and want to move into a startup. So that's very valuable. And they may acquire or invest in those startups. So there's corporations. There's the government. And the government, a good government, and Massachusetts is, I think, absolutely one of the best in the world at this, very enlightened, doesn't get in your way. So you want a government that isn't in your face and in your way creating obstacles. In that sense, they don't play a super active role on a day-to-day basis, but they create an environment that is conducive for growth, meaning they remove regulations, they make it easy to register companies at low cost. And what was very valuable in our case is that they understand how hard it is to launch a startup, and that in particular there's a difficult activation energy where you need some money up front to create that momentum. And so the Massachusetts government provided us funding, which was incredibly valuable. But far more important is that they provided us legitimacy, because the governor announced the funding for us. The governor came to our launch party before we had the rest of our funding raised, when we were still risky as a small idea. And that legitimacy, that brought the media attention, that brought in the rest of the community. We got access to their press team, and we learned a lot from watching them and understanding how large, well-organized organizations operate. So huge amount of training and knowledge. So the government can play a very, very positive role. And the mayor as well in Boston had created the Innovation District, helped connect us to all sorts of different nonprofits, NGOs, and corporations that provided us with money and advice and knowledge. So we have a great set of politicians here in Massachusetts at all levels. So that's another entity. And then what have I missed here? So also within the corporations, as you have lawyers and advisors, and then entrepreneurs, of course, is another huge source. So, and that is both the young entrepreneurs that are founders, but also the established entrepreneurs that act as mentors and advisors. So if you take all of those, typically, like, think of an investor. If they want to improve their investment return, they think of themselves, they only think of them as a variable. How do I, as an investor, improve my deal flow? Well, I'll go hang out at MIT or Harvard or Babson or Northeastern or BU, and I'll where the labs are, and I'll talk to the scientists, and I'll talk to the students and the professors, and I'll try to find ideas that way. Well, that may maximize their deal flow, but they're essentially still fighting over slices of pie, right? That does not actually contribute significantly to an increase in the overall value of the ecosystem. So, but what you can do with a system and a structure like Mass Challenge is we created essentially a watering hole where all of those players come together in one place surrounding the community that is Mass Challenge. And then once they're all in one place, you can optimize their interactions to accelerate the output from the system. So the method that we use to aggregate them is the competition. So we offered up $1 million of prize money, and that is the attractor. That represents like the that's the candy that attracts everybody in. And then once you have them there, then you can coordinate those introductions and line them up with the startups, provide training, networking events in a more concentrated environment that accelerates the activity in the ecosystem. So it's difficult, again, but just think of it at the system level, identify the strengths and weaknesses of your community, and go play off of the strengths in order to compensate for the weaknesses, but definitely think of it like a system is the way to do it.